What's up, my dudes? Check out that butt pad, boy. First dude to ever make a space track in a motocross game, you know what I'm saying, dog? But, yeah. So, this is a pretty big video right here. I wanted to come in here and talk about this. So, let me explain this whole why Supercross 3 feels so much like an MX versus ATV game, or it feels so much like MX versus ATV All Out. Literally feels like a mixture between, Supercross 2, the official video game, and All Out. That's pretty much exactly what this game is. And I said that in my review of the game. That's basically what this game is, dude. So a lot of people, I feel like, are getting a little confused. I've seen some comments and people saying, oh, Milestone just copied, MX versus ATV or whatever. Some people, it's just kind of going all over the place. People don't really know what's going on. So yeah, I know some of you dudes do know about this, but I just need to explain this to some newcomers to Supercross 3 that don't really understand what's going on. So I don't really know when this happened, but this was a few months ago, like, I don't know, 5, 6, it was a good little while back, right? Basically what happened was THQ Nordic, the parent company of MX versus ATV, bought out Milestone. They own Milestone now. Some of you guys don't even realize that. So THQ Nordic, they're over Rainbow Studios, which is the people that work on MX versus ATV. So now Milestone and the people that make MX versus ATV are under the same parent company, okay? I don't really think it's one of those deals where it's like Milestone is copying MX versus ATV. I just think it's one of those things they're starting to work together now. I think that's really what is going on here. I'm not really for sure. Obviously, I'm not in and amongst all that, and I don't even know how much Milestone would admit to that, but it is apparent. It is obvious. It is like, you got to be a fool and a half to not see that Milestone has taken a bunch of influence and a bunch of things from MX versus ATV going into this Supercross 3 game. I mean, it's like insane. It's like Milestone is finally changing, finally doing all these things that I've been wanting them to do forever. And, I want to give Milestone credit for that, but at the same time, there's a side of me that's like, just imagine if Milestone never got bought out by THQ Nordic. Do you really think we would have been seeing this different of a game? I don't know, dog. I really don't. I mean, I don't know. I just think what happened was they got access to kind of some of the base physics systems of MX versus ATV All Out. They got some access to the freedom of the whip, the whole entire like in-air whip vibe system to MX versus ATV All Out. But what I need to remind you guys and reiterate on is they still are pretty different games in a certain sense, though. Like whenever you compare Supercross 3 to MX versus ATV All Out. I know a lot of dudes are getting this idea in their head that they're just the same exact game, and why would you even play Supercross 3? It's just MX versus ATV All Out. A lot of dudes getting that idea in their head, and I think that's a really big problem right now because what they're doing is people are just hopping into Supercross 3 right off the bat, and they're just getting that little bit of a feeling of like MX versus ATV All Out, so they just think that's all the game is, and then they just quit playing Supercross 3 like an hour into it, and they're just like, oh, fuck this, dude, it's just MX versus ATV All Out, you know what I mean? And they don't give it the time of day, they don't even give it the chance, right? Me going back in here and playing All Out, I realized that, and this is what I said in my earlier review of Supercross 3, it really is like a combination of a Milestone game and MX versus ATV All Out. It's not just like Supercross 3 is MX versus ATV All Out. You know what I mean? It's not like that, dog. I mean, I'm being straight up honest with you. I definitely can already tell I like Supercross 3's physics and air filling and all that kind of stuff better than MX versus ATV All Out. I mean, I can already tell you that right off the bat. Like, just the way the cornering is in Supercross 3 and even like the whip filling to it and everything about it feels better in Supercross 3 already. Like, I can already tell that. So if you're one of those kind of people that you played All Out and you hated it, and then you're hopping in there on Supercross 3 and you're just like, oh, this is just like All Out, and you quit playing the game really quick, you need to get back in Supercross 3, dog, and play it a little bit more. Make sure you have all the handicapped, physics crap turned off and all that. You need to get back in there and give that shit a chance, dude. I mean, it is better than All Out as far as the physics feel to me, for sure. Like, for sure. It's like they've sort of taken some of the good things about the, the original Milestone games feeling, but then integrated some of the good things about the MX versus ATV physics system to it, and that's the outcome of what you get in Supercross 3, but dogs, like, wow, this is crazy that I go back and play All Out now and I realize how much better Supercross 3 really feels in this to me. Like, God, dude, it's insane. So, but maybe this is something I just thought up in my head. So you guys know MX vs. ATV is planning on making another game and whatever. They're planning on coming out with another MX vs. ATV game. Maybe they were along in the process of developing that next game, which we all think is going to be more like a reflex and all that kind of stuff. It's got to be better than All Out, right? That next MX vs. ATV game they're making. Maybe they were able to take like where MX vs. ATV was at that point. They were able to take some of those physics versus taking like physics directly from All Out. You understand what I'm saying? Maybe they were taking almost like a All Out 2.0 type physics or an All Out 1.5, physics system. And then that's what they integrated into Supercross 3. That's almost what it feels more like to me. So maybe the Supercross 3 is a little indication of a little bit more of what we're going to be getting in the next MX versus ATV game, right? So maybe that's sort of the case. I don't know. But, of course, I have no idea when that next MX versus ATV game is coming out, and it's probably going to be a lot more advanced than what Supercross 3 is. But I just wanted to come in here and make this little video just to explain, like, don't get that stupid-ass idea in your head that Supercross 3 is just MX versus ATV All Out, because it's not really like that. I mean, yeah, it's... When you compare Supercross 3 to the other Milestone Supercross games, yeah, it really is a lot more like MX versus ATV and stuff like that, but it's not the same game. It is not the same game as All Out. I'm telling you, dog, it's not. Like, I could see where a lot of people wouldn't really like this game right here that might, necessarily like Supercross 3, or like, there's definitely going to be some people that like Supercross 3 and then they come to this game and don't really like this game. Like, I could see that 100%. So Supercross 3 to me just feels a little more realistic, especially in the corner vibe, right? Track designs feel better on Supercross 3 than this right here. More realistic in Supercross 3. So there's a few different elements. The whips feel a little more natural to me in Supercross 3. I don't really know. I don't know. It's just all in kind of how you want to look at it. But, yeah, dude. But, yeah, some of you dudes just still aren't realizing that Milestone and MX versus ATV are basically under the same team umbrella now. They're basically a part of the same team now. Some of you guys are, like, still going down this road like it's Milestone versus, MX versus ATV and shit, and it's not really like that anymore. They're damn near and they're under the same team now. And like I say, I don't know how much they were, Milestone was able to take from MX versus ATV. I don't know what all went down, how it went down, but good God, dog, it is pretty obvious they did that to some extent for Supercross 3. I mean, it is just pretty obvious. Like, I don't see how you can really argue that. Some of you dudes still have it in your head that Milestone just did all this on their own, all these improvements for Supercross 3 on their own, and oh my God, yeah, Milestone, woo! Like, Milestone's just got it all figured out, and they know exactly. No, dog, they've taken a lot from MX vs. ATV and partnered up with MX vs. ATV. That's how they've been able to make such a more skill gap, such a more inertia filling and, kind of just that longevity filling style Supercross game like they've made with Supercross 3. So it's a weird balance of, like, I want to give Milestone credit, but at the same time, I don't want to give them too much credit, because some people, they act like Milestone just pulled all this right out of their ass, and this whole, them getting under the same umbrella team as MX vs. ATV had nothing to do with how Supercross 3 turned out. Those people are idiots, dog. Like, it obviously did 100%, dude. 100%. that is why Supercross 3 feels like the way that it does. But it's the same time, you know, it's like, I'm glad, however that went down, I'm glad it went down that way, you know, because I did not want to see just another standard-ass milestone, same old same, no inertia, no skill gap physics system to that next, you know, official Supercross game. I'm so glad that's why they went down, that they did end up going down those roads. But like, I still feel like they're different enough to feel like different games. Like, what I'm talking about specifically here is like Supercross 3 and MX vs. ATV All Out still feel different enough to where they feel like different games. They really do. And especially when you start considering track designs and all that other kind of stuff, and they're not actually being a seat bounce button in Supercross 3, but it's kind of still faintly there, and the cornering's quite a bit different in Supercross 3 than All Out. There's a lot of different stuff kind of going on here. But yeah, I mean, you can just see it like in the whip systems and the just kind of how the inertia the bike looks in the air. All that stuff is very similar to like from All Out to Supercross 3. So I 100,000% believe that, you know, Milestone was able to take things, and that's why you're seeing all these crazy, massive, whoa, what the hell, Milestone's finally doing it, like, oh my God. I feel like that's why you're seeing all that. I could be totally wrong. Yes, it is, you know, kind of speculatory, but good God, it's one of those things that just about has to be the case by how similar they look, you know? And then, oh wow, Milestone's basically got bought out by MX vs. ATV. Like, yeah, it's pretty obvious what's going on here, dog. You not got to be a rocket scientist to figure this out, right? Like, I don't have factual proof behind the scenes information on this shit, but like, just put 2 and 2 together, bro. You know what I'm saying? It ain't that hard. So either way, I just want to make this little video just reiterating, some of you guys that don't realize that Milestone is basically owned by the top dog MX vs. ATV main umbrella company. Some of you dudes that don't realize that need to understand that, because that's what it is right now. THQ Nordic, you know, Nordic, the one that was involved in PC version of Reflex and MX vs. ATV Supercross, and then on to All Out. Those dudes, there's like a bigger, THQ Nordic's like a bigger parent company above like Rainbow Studios and MX vs. ATV, and then now they've bought out Milestone. So, and that was the thing, like, when you think about it, you know, this whole Milestone getting bought out thing, that all happened right about the time MXGP 2019 came out. So I really think they didn't even really like have the opportunity and the time to make all these different adjustments and make the game more like an MX vs. ATV and all that by the time that MXGP 2019 came out. That's why you never really saw that sort of difference on that game. So this is really the first like Milestone game since they got bought out by THQ Nordic that we've seen thus far, and that's why you're seeing this much of a difference and all these changes and stuff like this, right? The way I'm adding it up in my head, that has to be the way that all went down, dog. Pretty much gotta be the way that all went down. So either way, just wanted to come in here and explain all that. I don't know. This is interesting for the future for sure, because I just feel like, and I never wanted like Milestone to make a game that was exactly like MX vs. ATV. That was never really the goal, right? Leave that up to MX vs. ATV, right? I've always been saying MX vs. ATV needs to go back and basically make like a Reflex 2, but Milestone kind of has their own little vibe and their own little thing going, and I still want them to keep that, but at the same time, they were lacking so many just like standard inertia and feeling and physics aspects to their games, specifically in the air and the whip side of everything. The cornering wasn't quite as bad, but you know, all of the in-air stuff that they just about had to scrape that down and take more from MX vs. ATV in that category to even have even a remotely playable for more than a week style, you know, motocross and supercross game. They pretty much had to do this, guys. You got to realize that at this point. So, you know, I think it'd be cool to have a game that's like a Reflex 2 from MX vs. ATV, and then have a game that's like a Reflex mixed with a Milestone game for Milestone's next game. That'd be cool to have two motocross, supercross games out there like that, to me. That'd just be really cool to see that. So, I just really hope Milestone lays all that old, outdated, Milestone physics to rest. I really hope they just keep that in the storage closet. You know what I'm saying? It's okay to take maybe a little bit of and continue to kind of go down the road in the vibes of the cornering that the Milestone physics have had. That's okay, but as far as everything else, no, definitely not. You don't want to take any of that. And it does seem like that's basically what they've done here with Supercross 3. It still has a bit of the Milestone cornering vibe to it. It doesn't just feel like all-out cornering in Supercross 3. That's not what this game is, dog. And even like the way you jump and stuff like that, there's still a little nugget of it. You can tell it's still a Milestone game, but it's just finally a different Milestone game than what we've have had in the past. That's basically the biggest thing about it. So either way, I just want to come here and explain some of this stuff. That's why Supercross 3 has this sort of MX versus ATV feeling to it. But they're definitely different games, You definitely don't want to get that idea in your head that Supercross 3 is just all out, because it's definitely not. Some people kind of get that impression, and that's not the case. And you got to play the game long enough to realize that, because I know you could easily, let's say you haven't played all out in a year, and then all of a sudden you hop on Supercross 3, you might hop in there and think, oh shit, this is just basically all out. Wow, this is trash. But if you don't sit there and spend time on it and change your physics settings off of that handicap bull crap and kind of get into the game a little more, you won't realize these sort of things until you play at least 10, 20 hours in the game. You won't even realize how much better this is until you do that. So just saying, just put the time in on this thing and you'll see what I'm saying, dog. So either way, appreciate you guys watching all the videos. Later, dudes.